Melissa Bernstein is the Emmy award-winning producer of Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. I'm Matt Noble at Gold Derby, here to ask her, how do you keep it fresh after sort of 5 seasons in Better Call Saul land and even longer in the universe?
Well, luckily we follow the lead of our writers, and I think, and they're really listening to the characters, and the characters have a long way to go. What's so great about the show, and I think something that was so great about Breaking Bad, it was a show that, took Mr. Chips and turned him into Scarface. So it was all about the journey for that character, and the character was evolving over time as the seasons went on. And that is absolutely the case for Better Call Saul. So the characters keep changing and the stakes keep getting higher. So that sort of naturally keeps the show very fresh for all of us.
Mm. And something that was fresh for you was directing an episode. Season 5, like why this year to that plunge in directing?
It is, I've been thinking about directing for some time, but, producing keeps me so busy that I never felt like it was the right time. And then I realized we had 2 seasons left, and if I didn't do it pretty soon, I wasn't going to be directing on the show at all. So I took the plunge before we waved goodbye to these characters in the show.
Good opportunity. And you directed the episode JMM. And how the people not be sure how the episodes get divided up. How did you land that particular episode?
Yeah, the assignment of episodes is it's a little bit of a puzzle because a number of our writers also direct, so we have to spread those out so that those writers are definitely in the room while they're breaking. If they do 2 episodes, we need them in the room while they're breaking both those episodes. And then we need them to be cleared from the room while they're prepping and directing. So that sort of starts the process. Peter can't really direct until the very end because, he's seeing through the story breaking. So he goes at the end. And then, we have a few beloved directors that we like to work into the process. This year, Michael Morris and Jim McKay. And so we look at their availability, and then because I'm there all day, every day, I can kind of fill in wherever I need to. This episode, I was so excited to do. Obviously, I got to see Kim and Jimmy get married, which was a big deal in their relationship, something I think fans of Breaking Bad would have never thought we'd be watching a wedding episode for Saul Goodman. So to be a part of that was really special. And the writer of it is Allison Tatlock, a writer I worked with on *Halt and Catch Fire* too. So it was just an incredible joy to be able to collaborate with her and take that spot in the trajectory of the story.
Yeah, with let's talk about that wedding scene or sequence that you put together. How was it? Sort of in what tone were you trying to capture there? Because it sort of vacillates from comedy to sort of sentimental, and so what were you going for there?
Well, I think Peter's greatest fear was that it was going to feel overly emotional or somehow saccharine, the wedding. So that was my mandate, to make sure it didn't feel too emotional, and the build to it didn't feel that way. And so it's very workaday. These characters are in the courthouse where they work in and out every day. There's no emotion to that. They're not dressed specially. They're not, nothing about their appearance. It has a wedding vibe. They haven't planned. They don't have rings. So I was trying to keep that very routine and in our sort of drab courthouse world. But I did want sort of the absurdity of life, to sort of blossom through in moments, where you see like another group's ring bearer and flower girl sort of running around in the background, and really be able to see other couples. They've come together out of love and joy, whereas our characters have come together for a business purpose, essentially, to keep each other out of jail. But the ceremony itself, I really loved the idea of the emotion creeping up on these characters and them hearing the words they're saying, living the words they're saying, and actually being very excited about committing to each other in that very, significant way.
Yeah, and a moment we sort of see that is where they just laugh just a little bit over not having rings.
Yeah. I mean, Huell provides great comic relief, as does the amazing actor who plays our officiant, who's just playing things fairly straight and allowing our actors to have a little fun.
Yeah. What was the biggest challenge in directing the episode?
Well, we had we did have some actor availability challenges that create our Norbert Wieser, who plays who's coming from our Los Pollos Hermanos world. He wasn't available to us the entire shoot. So, and that was a really, really big day. So we had to start with our Los Pollos Hermanos, our madrigal world. We had to start with our madrigal world, which would not have been our go-to. Our Madrigal Houston paired with the hotel suite meeting between those three, which with Lydia and with Gus, and in that scene where we're seeing this history between those three, and it's really mysterious and intense, and these characters are under a great deal of pressure, and that had to be our first day. So that was a little bit intense, because sometimes you get to work up to your bigger scenes and work up to some of your new locations. But, our production design team, our set deck team had to create Madrigal Houston and this Houston hotel room, like right coming out of the gate. And I think, also there's a lot of different things in the episode. We have a explosion, we have a wedding, we have our characters are all really at odds, and there's just a lot. We had a lot of different tones to address. Mike with his granddaughter trying to make amends with his daughter-in-law. So it wasn't like one little adventure there. There were just so many different pieces of the puzzle that we were checking in on and trying to, continue down the road.
Hopefully good choice road. But you've got something that I always find very interesting is the sort of unique look of Better Call Saul, and one of the shots that I think captured that quite well was very early in the episode when Jim and Kimmy I made the same mistake where Kim and Jimmy are talking about the wedding outside the courthouse, and we see a lot of that conversation from underneath the table that they are speaking at. How much thought is put into shots like that? How important is it to have that sort of look?
Well, we have an incredible director of photography, Marshall Adams, who I work with very closely about the compositions and about what I was hoping to accomplish in each scene. And he has great ideas. And frankly, the crew has wonderful ideas. But a lot of thought does go into it, because we're always trying to kind of outdo each other. You know, we you know, the template, you know, set out by Vince and Michelle McLaren and Peter Gould and, you know, all these, and Michael Morris, all these incredible directors. When you step into those shoes, you want every shot to be special and dynamic and memorable. So, you know, you feel like the standards are very, very high. So, I mean, I did try to think everything through, because you want each shot to be able to be a poster. But I definitely, you know, got input from all of my key collaborators on how to come up with shots that would fit into the aesthetic of the show.
Yeah, and with the aesthetic of the show, like, do you need to balance sort of keeping it in the same universe as Breaking Bad, but having it be its own distinct feel from Breaking Bad with Better Call Saul?
Yeah, I mean, I think we ended up making a lot of decisions that separated it from Breaking Bad. You know, Breaking Bad we shot on film. Better Call Saul we shot on video. And on Breaking Bad we had a handheld look. You know, so the camera was handheld. You know, not aggressively handheld, but that sort of, you know, you could feel the breath. You know, that kind of approach. And then on Better Call Saul, we use a lot of dollies. We're very rarely handheld. You know, that said, we love our wide landscapes. You know, we want to show off New Mexico. We love to fit into, you know, the sort of canvas of the Western. And we also, in both Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, we love to do things that haven't been done before. So whenever we can figure out a way to that, that's always a goal. That said, I think we don't worry about betraying Breaking Bad, but I think we just never want the camera work to distract from the characters and their stories. We never want it to feel forced or like, you know, or we're you know, trying to be showmen. We want it, you know, we really want it to work with the story.
You say you're always trying to look to do things that you haven't done before in ways you haven't done them before. What was something in season 5 that you guys were able to pull off that hadn't been done before?
That's a great question. Because I will say in Better Call Saul, you know, our teasers thus far have been black and white. You know, that's something that we didn't play with on Breaking Bad, and something that you don't often see on shows. And it's been really fun to imagine bringing the worlds of Omaha flash forward together with, you know, our past, our pre-Breaking Bad story, which is of course in color. I mean, there's always things we're trying to figure out, like with the camera, that sometimes technology kind of catches up to our desires, and sometimes it's just a matter of kind of taking the right chance. But I mean, I think they may even feel like small things to viewers, but for us, it's, you know, like there's something Marshall hadn't tried before that is in Bad Choice Road in 9, is when covering Jimmy, when the juicer's going crazy, you know, there's these 2 cameras mounted right next to each other that allow for this really unique perspective on Jimmy when he's in this moment of crisis, and that's something you haven't seen before, that our DP hadn't tried before, and it created I think it really added to the tension of that sequence, and that's the kind of scene we don't do very often. But you know, and like in Breaking Bad, you know, that we weren't using any kind of drone because the technology wasn't really there, you know, but now we're able to use the drone, and, you know, we're not big fans of the whoopee drone, but we love to put the camera in places you wouldn't be able to get it technically any other way.
Oh, that's cool. Breaking Bad you won the Emmy twice for best drama series for that series, but it took you till the 5th season before you finally won. Better Call Saul has very well respected by the Academy. It's gotten a lot of Emmy nominations for its run, and actually is one of the most consistent performers in receiving Emmy nominations over the past four or 5 years. But you haven't won one yet for Better Call Saul. Anyway, like anyone on the show, what has that Emmy recognition meant for you guys over the years?
Well, we've been so honored to be nominated in the best series categories, and to have so many of our actors recognized. I think we're really hoping that Ray Seahorn gets recognized this season.
Yeah.
We have felt like that's her work is incredible, and she makes it look very, very easy. So we want her incredible talents to get in that beautiful bright light. But I mean, when we were doing Breaking Bad, I mean, I love it, and I think it's an incredible show. But we were among, I don't know what, like 50 dramas or 100.
Yeah.
And now we're among 500 dramas. So just to be nominated at this point is pretty fantastic, and we're all really honored by that. Heading into the end game of our show, perhaps that will bring some focus to it. But I think, speaking for myself, it's so special to win an Emmy, so special to be recognized by your peers. And I don't want to be greedy. I don't know. I want to, but I just feel so lucky to have won before.
Yeah, and it's funny you talk about how it's expanded the whole drama, the whole now it's so many. But when Breaking Bad was getting nominated and there were 50, that seemed like so much more than there were before too. Like people go, boy, there's more dramas than ever. So it is crazy the way the world of television has expanded and the number of content that's out there. Melissa, thank you so much for chatting with us today about Better Call Saul. All the best of luck for the Emmys, for Better Call Saul, also for El Camino that I think you produced as well. And I think there might be a web series too. Most seasons there's a web series. Is that a Kim Wexler one? Is that a? Yeah. There you go.
Ray Seahorn is the center of this one, so yeah.
So maybe Ray Seahorn can get in for that too. Who knows? Depending on all the categories and eligibility and stuff like that. Thank you so much for chatting with us, and all the best. And people can go to Gold Derby to make your Emmy predictions. GoldDerby.com, where you can predict Better Call Saul and Ray Seahorn and all those sort of things. There you go.
Thank you so much for your time.
Crossed.
Really appreciate it.